Genie grind, I wish I'm getting rich, huh? Remember when I said I hit a lick, huh? I don't really wanna fuck the bitch, what? Willie went and made another hit, okay, like Prada on my motherfucking kid, huh? Louis on my motherfucking hip, huh? Curry how I dunk, no switch, hey, fucking gonna fuck that bitch, hey, if you ain't gon' fuck with me, you a dumb fuck, put up a hit but feel like one punch, look at my bank and I'm getting dumb rich, and I'm gonna count it up till 100.
Hello world, I am back. We're doing this in the same video. That is right. So, we are continuing What If Naofumi was summoned by the Elves. Let's get it. Naofumi is sitting in the yard of the arena, the coldness seeping through his cloak. It seems to do nothing but hide his second shield. He stares at it, its fine creases, jagged, almost exact opposites of each other. The two holy churches, the two sides seem to be in same balance with him. You cannot have one without the other. As he lays them down, staking them into the ground as he trained, as long as they were close to him, he could have them around. Although he could never equip another weapon, his shields were all that he needed. He made use, the best that he could, until he hears footsteps. It was Lily. You know, there's people to actually talk to, instead of just sitting here doing nothing. I'm training, as he's punching the air right now, staring at his crosses. She says, you know, you should collect some intelligence right now instead of just sitting here. He says, you are correct. Fine. I will go to one of these gatherings. She says, good. I shall go with you. No. You shall keep an eye on that princess. She's actually at one of the parties right now. You should go to that one so we can be together while doing it. He says, good plan. I never congratulate you on any of your good plans, but I want to say thank you for all that you have done for me. Lily. As she hops down from the pillar that she was standing on top of with her blackened armor, they both are entangled within each other in a few seconds. The armor rubbing up against each other were seemingly serpents wrapping and intertwining. After this passionate moment, he's like, we should go. She's like, of course, of course. They enter into the party with now whole new clothes, gaining back new royal clothes given to them by the Empire. He hated the clothes. They were not personally selected by him. And all they did was accentuate the villainous nature that they want to see inside of him. However, they fit him perfectly, oddly enough. However, Lily was finding her suit very delicate, light, and fluffy. It seemed like it had weightless. It was beautiful on her, he said, but did not tell him what her fighting soul was like. She says, oh, enough of the compliments. Shall we go? They head in, as they rest by the fireplace instantly, gaining back their, after all, they have been outside living, basically, off of the land for the past, month. Both of their hands stoked by the fireplace, they nudge in closer to each other. However, people all around them start to talk about them, he can tell. Perhaps this wasn't such a good idea. No. They'll start talking about something that we need to know about. But then they start to talk about something a little different. 3 mages enter into the party, their hats poking up into the air, seemingly endless. They don't seem to care much about the scenery, however they carried their buffing and debuffing staffs around with them. Although these ones were carrying only buff staffs. Very interesting. They were the Order of the Black Cross. Nothing but mercenary, churchgoers that were also mages. They could be hired by anybody, but were commanded directly by the church, whatever they needed to be. Over today, they were specially wielding buff staffs. It was quite odd. As they searched throughout the party, they eyed up Naofumi and Lily. Lily felt almost being undressed by their eyes. She felt hiding behind Naofumi. I know you're just doing this to make me feel like a man, she says. Is it not working? He says. Oh no, it's working plenty. However, he stands stalwart in front of their gazing eyes. They close their eyes and look other places, overwatching the city, as the night slowly overtook them. Soon, Naofumi woke up next to the arena inside of his garb, ready for battle. His normal clothes, the elven garb, blackened by the fire that he had been stoked in. It was not uncomfortable anymore. Against his patched up skin, he was but a zombie. He looked down to his hands, thinking, what will I do? However, he hears his name called out as he walks out into the arena. As his cloak billows, he sees all the people in the crowds watching him, and Lily cheering him on. However, she says that she can sense other people. Something is wrong. He looks around, trying to see what she sees. She says, "No, I can't see, dummy. Think about it as in I can feel it. Feel." As he takes up his shield, looking into it as he returns back into a meditative state, and he closes his eyes. The rushing crowd, everybody screaming and ready for the fight. Even the countdown seems to stop dead in its tracks. Once there was 3, then it was 2. But before I could strike 1, time stopped. Can't believe I'm doing this again. Last time I did this, I was sent into the future, for God's sakes. However, he can feel much more now. He can sense much more. It's like a stronger version of what he usually has, as a passive, being able to feel people's intentions. He saw all of these men, all of the mages, all holding buff staffs out in the stands, covered in the VIP section so they could not be seen by anybody else. So that's what it was, hey? He opens up his eyes. 1! Fight! They were never planning on ever losing, were they? He's like, well then, howdy. I accept the challenge, as he rushes forward, stopping Naofumi's spear surprisingly, as it sinks into the wood of his into his church cross. Motoyasu said, "What? I thought you had an actual shield." As Naofumi's like, "What? I thought you were going to be buffed." As then they are both sent into opposite directions, as Motoyasu says, "Well, yeah, I was going to buff myself either way. You're correct. My mistake for thinking that about going easy on you." As he says, "Hero of the people," a passive that he had gained before. However, it's a passive that stacks with every hit that you take. You can now add a buff to you every single time that you take a deathly strike. He uses this and is instantly engulfed in flames, and then it transpires, taking out almost 10 seconds for him. Now Fumi realizes that they weren't going to buff Motoyasu. Well then, what is their plan? Motoyasu says, "This is supposed to be a friendly fight. You should be more enjoying this. Come on, Naofumi. Have a little bit of fun." As he activates his trident spear, saying, "I'm coming after you now, Naofumi. Be sure to block your head." After Naofumi's like, "Wait, he noticed?" That, well, Naofumi had only blocked his head. "Yeah, you thought I wouldn't?" As Naofumi's like, "He does have some great potential, and he's able to tell very easily what my weak point is. Very interesting. However, I must be on my guard." As he grits his teeth and plants his feet, thinking, then what would they be doing with the buff? As multiple spear strikes are struck into the board that he was holding to his head. He then riposts the spear away from him, sending Motoyasu flying. As Malty, what was her name again? The bitch, says, "Get back in there! How the fuck are you losing? He has a goddamn shield as a weapon!" As, Matayasu's like, "Your sweet talk kind of ended. When did that happen?" As Naofumi finally can recollect his thoughts. And then he realizes. So that's how they're going to play it. So that's how they will be doing it, eh? Alright! This kingdom. These people. As Matayasu picks up his spear and puts him and brings himself up to his feet. He realizes that his health has barely even been damaged. But he senses something from Naofumi. As Naofumi puts his hand onto the ground, ash starts to seep out of his mouth and leak onto the floor. They want to play dirty. They want to do all this just to tear me down. How about they get a little taste of their medicine? However, he hears a voice in his head. It was from Lily. Even she was telling him to not do it. As his spirit hugs him, putting its arms around his chest, how she does all the time, to calm him. He stops, but then his eyes dart up to him, saying, "I will be attacking with a punch in 3 seconds." As Motoyasu says, "What? You're just going to tell me?" 2 seconds. It's just like, okay, hold on. As he uses spear charge, he immediately charges using a very quick attack, charging straight at Naofumi. However, the spear goes straight into the wood, as it spears straight through the wood, but then gets stuck in the wood. As Naofumi twists his shield off to the left, unhanding the spear out from Matayasu's hands. As Matayasu is in complete shock, Naofumi says, "You have to always be ready for any situation. Now, 1 second." As Motoyasu uses this time to block up on his face. However, he's actually tugged back as Naofumi punches straight at where Matayasu was. He's suddenly buffed 3 times, 10 times, over 100 times. As the shockwave is enough to blow Matayasu back. But in his stead, someone was there and gotten hit by the attack. As the dust finally clears, the stadium was quiet. And then all they see is the bitch laying there, coughing up blood. A massive crater where she laid, and Motoyasu on the ground, almost knocked out. However, he picks himself up and grabs onto his spear as he tries to pick himself up, saying, "Wow, I didn't know you were that powerful now, Naofumi. That's incredible." However, Naofumi was only staring at Malty. So that's what it was, eh? I was wondering. Looks like I am the fool here, Naofumi says. As, it shifts over to Matayasu. He says, "What are you?" as his eyes focus onto Malty. He runs over, saying, "What happened?" He bends on his 2 knees as he puts his hand down onto her stomach. There was a knife wound inside of her stomach. For some reason. As he looks up to her, he can almost see her life fading. As she says, "Naofumi, what did you do?" As Naofumi says, "I was a fool to think that I could become friends with you." "Answer me, goddammit! Why did you do this? I thought we were friends." As Naofumi says, "Don't trust your emotions, okay? This was clearly a mistake." As, Matayasu picks himself up. His shoulders still slump down, however they rear back. He gains a buff. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but almost 100. His skin starts to rip, revealing veins. As these buffs continue to reflect through his mind, his guardian thing, his whole thing that was telling him anything was going haywire. There were so many buffs on his screen that he could not even physically see. All he felt was rage and regret for trusting Naofumi. He kicks up his spear and grabs onto it, and he uses Trident Throw! As he throws the trident straight at Naofumi. Naofumi's like, "Wait!" As he uses the Spirit King to protect himself from the blow. He is sent ricocheting across the arena, smashing onto the ground and then onto the wall. Naofumi catches himself, however, for the meteor strike that was coming next, from the trident blow, which would hit 3 times in a row. Although it takes considerable physical ability to do it, it's incredible that he's able to use the trident while also using meteor blow. This hits Naofumi hard, injuring the Spirit King, something that even the Boar King was able to do. He was going insane. The buffs, they were corrupting him. He looks up to see her trying to Lily trying to distract everybody. However, all she can do is distract the priests with explosive arrows, trying to make it seem like their battle is much harsher than it should be, trying to knock out as many as she can in the stands. However, the buffs will still last for a few more seconds. As Naofumi tries to hold off the rest of them, however, he gets his shield knocked out of his hand. All he sees in front of his face is the sadness and the pain, that of losing your loved one, inside the face of Matayasu. His shield knocked away from his face, Matayasu was going for his head, and the spear was closing in on his throat. He had used Swift Strike so many times, plus using Guard Break. It was a genius strategy, and now Fumi couldn't beat it with the buffs. He was done for. All he can say is, well done, Naofumi. However, Naofumi's buffs suddenly stop, and the trident halts right before Naofumi's neck. What? As then Naofumi looks down, seeing a hand, a bony hand, come up from the ground, implants Matayasu into the ground. Tens of skeleton soldiers start to be summoned all around Naofumi, protecting him and shielding him from the incoming attacks from the mages. Hundreds of fireballs fired at Naofumi, trying to finish him off. Instead, they end up hitting the spear hero. As Motoyasu is hit by one of the fireballs, he's sent skyrocketing into Naofumi, indenting Naofumi's armor finally. Naofumi is hit into a wall as he falls down to the ground. His energy was almost completely used back there, and the Spirit King is heavily damaged, but Naofumi seems even more wasted. That fireball had cored through his armor. How the hell could somebody have that much power? However, hundreds are coming after them again. As the fireballs, as Naofumi raises up his shield, the Spirit King is almost all out of power. He has to use something else. And he realizes that a fireball is also life magic. It's part of the life that makes the world. And so, Ember defense. As he breathes out and all this just ash starts to spread around him and, the Motoyasu, completely nullifying all damage coming right after them, but only for a few seconds. Once the fireball seemed to clear, the ash seems to seep back into Naofumi's skin and clear off into the night sky. Motoyasu was barely alive. One of his eyes was still open to look up and see Malti standing there with grinning, holding up her hand after she had casted a fireball. "Bitch," he says as he drifts off to sleep. Naofumi takes out a health potion as he feeds it to freaking Motoyasu. And I think that we'll be ending it there. Basically, I think, no, that's where we're ending it off. I think that's going to be the last one today. Maybe. Actually, I might do another one. But yes, I hope you enjoyed that one. And I'll see you sometime, somewhere. Preferably tomorrow. Goodbye.
Genie grind, I wish I'm getting rich, huh? Remember when I said I hit a lick, huh? I don't really wanna fuck the bitch, what? Willie went and made another hit, okay, like Prada on my motherfucking kid, huh? Louis on my motherfucking hip, huh? Curry how I dunk, no switch, hey, fucker gonna fuck that bitch, hey, if you ain't gon' fuck with me, you a dumb fuck, put up a hit up for that one punch, look at my bank and I'm getting dumb rich, and I'm gonna count it up to